Good morning, everyone. At least it's a good morning for me. This is Will Essery. I'm one of the members of the Paternity University group, and I wanted to show the group a spreadsheet that I've been working on for the last few weeks. I use a version of this for my notarial business, but I've modified it to work for the DNA business also. And the way it's set up is this is an Excel spreadsheet. It has months January through December here at the bottom, and I have a year-to-date summary tab also. So once you click on the year-to-date summary tab, it'll give you a snapshot of where you are with your total income for the year, sales, taxes, due, expenses that you occurred during that year, taxes due, taxes paid, and any unpaid taxes that you may have not paid. And then it gives you a profit and loss for the year. So we'll come back to this page a little bit later. Let's go back to the January tab. And the way it's set up is that at the beginning of the year, you're going to want to put in whatever your business miles are, or your mileage on your car. So if you're starting with 23,745, which I have on my car, I would put that in this slot here, and you only have to enter that once for January. And then at the end of the year, you go to the December tab, and you'll put in your ending mileage. So on December 31st, you would enter your mileage that you have on your car, and it would do a calculation of your business miles at 65.5 cents per mile. Now that calculation is done on a monthly basis. So at the end of January, I'm going to look at my odometer and I'm going to put in whatever the mileage is. Say I have, let's say, 25,000 at the end of January. That calculation would be the total number of miles that I would put here. So you want to make sure it's only business miles. So I'm not talking about the total mileage. So if you have an app like Mile IQ, on your phone, it would calculate whatever your business miles are, and then you would put that number in this field here at the bottom. So I put an estimate of 345 miles as business miles, and then the spreadsheet will do a calculation of 345 times 65.56 per mile, and that calculation would be $225.97. Or if you want to roll it up, 98 cents. So that's how the business miles are calculated. So each month, let's click on the February tab, which I currently have nothing on. You would then also put in whatever your mileage is, your business miles at the end of February, and it would do that calculation here in this cell over here. Please note that on the January tab, you only have to enter your beginning mileage one time, so you don't have to enter that in February. Moving up to the top of the spreadsheet, I also have some fields here for whatever your state tax rate may be, your federal tax rate, and also if you have a sales tax in your state. Now, these calculations are done to calculate what your self-employment tax would be on any given quarter. So I recognize that some states do not have a state tax rate. If you don't, you would just leave this field blank. However, every state has to pay federal tax. So whatever your rate is that you think you will need to set aside for self-employment taxes, you would put that right here. And I am no tax professional, so you would want to consult with your tax professional to see what percentage of your income should be set aside to pay self-employment taxes on a quarterly or monthly basis. In my case, I'm setting aside 10% of my income for state and then 20% for federal. Now, also, you're going to want to set aside any sales taxes that you capture when you're selling your DNA test kits. So, for example, here I have a DDC prenatal test that I sell for $15.99. Now, this spreadsheet will do a calculation on that $15.99 at, I put 8.75. So this field here is automatically calculated. And as you can see up here, here's the formula that it uses to do that. Also, collector income. I want to be specific about collector income versus collector fees. If you go out and do a collection for someone else, well, that's income. But you don't want to capture any sales tax on that because you aren't selling a product or a kit. So if I charge $50, I don't want to have that particular dollar amount taxed because there's no product being exchanged. I'm just going to do a swap. So if I type in collector income, the sales tax field will ignore any calculation on the income field. And here's the formula here that does that. Okay. So in this case, I type in collector income, $50, no sales tax is calculated, therefore the taxable income would be $50. Here's a RavGen prenatal test, $12.99. Notice the calculation done on $12.99 is this dollar amount here, and then this is your taxable income. It takes the difference between those two. Here's another legal paternity test. I'm just throwing out some numbers there. This is $249. This is not what I would charge, but here you can see the calculation is done. So whatever your sales tax rate is, this column here will do that calculation. So if you have a 6% sales tax, notice all the calculations were modified accordingly. Okay. As we move down, over here on the left, I'm putting down the expenses per category. And you can modify these expenses as you would like. I've got airfare, auto fees, etc. Now here's one called collector fees. This is when somebody that you hire goes out to do a collection for you. So that's an expense. In this case, they charge me $75. Therefore, I'm going to add that as an expense. Consultant fees. If you hire somebody that's helping you with a specific product or project, you would put those fees here, and so on down the line here. Now, if there is an item that I have not captured, notice I have some items here at the bottom called unassigned, and you could just type over unassigned and type in whatever you would like it to be. In this case, I'll put in test, and this becomes a new category that you can add for any expense that you occur on a monthly basis. Now notice when I typed in test over here, it added it automatically to this cell here, A32. And notice if I say A32, here's the option here that says A32. And as we scroll down the spreadsheet, the monthly total is calculated for all the expenses for the month. So it does not account for this mileage, but it does account for everything going up from there. So all of these columns, or all of these items in this column here, are calculated except for the business miles, which is not a dollar amount. It's actually a mileage amount. So here we have $3,961. Moving over to the income, as I scroll down, we've got totals this month. So we have $6,690. And I'm just going to zoom up a little bit here. And then totals up to this month. So if I'm on the February tab, it's going to carry forward this $6,690. And let's just check and see if it does that. So I'm going to go to February, scroll down to this amount, and you can see totals up to this month from January would be 6,690. So it carries forward the previous month's value. So this dollar amount will be calculated to the total for February, and then you will get a new value here in this cell. So it's a pretty powerful spreadsheet. Moving over to how it calculates the income, the federal and state taxes. I'm going to scroll down here, move over to this cell over here. Now notice on the fields up here, I use 10% and 20%. So it looks like the total value of, remember I had 6,290. So 10% of that is $629 for state that I should be setting aside for state taxes. 20% of that would be $1,258, and it does that calculation for you. So it takes the value of whatever is in cell P3, which in this case is right here, which is the 20, and it does that calculation. And then total taxes owed would be the combination of these two. Now, if you want to pay any taxes on a given basis of that 1887, you would just type in the amount here. Let's say you're paying $1,200 to both parties in that month, that is the state and the federal. It would do a calculation, and if you go to the year-to-date summary, it will show you what you've actually done here. So taxes due, notice taxes paid were $1,200, but you still have an unpaid balance of $687 that are due in taxes. So this gives you a snapshot of how you are doing on a quarterly or yearly basis on the taxes due from a self-employment standpoint. And I want to reiterate again, I'm not a tax professional, but this will give you a basic idea of what you should be paying to the state and the IRS on a monthly, quarterly, or yearly basis. So that's how the spreadsheet works. We have some roll-ups over here on the right for expenditures year to date. Notice that collection fees we paid year to date is $75. When you put in February, if I go to February and put in another $75 if that happens. So we're on February now. If I scroll across, notice we have $75 that we paid total this month. Total up to this month was $75, so it carries forward to $75 from January, and the total year to date would be $150. And let's just check that on our year to date summary. So collector fees. Notice we have $150 that it brought forward for collector fees. So that's in a nutshell what the spreadsheet will do. I have an instructions tab here that explains how to enter your data. You want to print this out. And it goes through everything that I pretty much explained in a little bit more detail. But I did enter some bogus data, if you will, in the January tab. So obviously you're going to want to delete everything that's been previously entered. Just highlight everything, press your delete key, and everything is gone. And you should be good to go. And you want to obviously do the same thing on the expenses side over here. So if we went up to here and highlighted everything, you would just highlight everything, including your mileage, and just delete it. So that's how the spreadsheet is set up. I'm looking for 3 volunteers to kick the tires, and then I'm going to probably charge $40 to use this spreadsheet, and it will be updated on a yearly basis. And any previous owners of the spreadsheet will not be charged in coming years. It's just a $40 flat fee. If I make any major changes to the spreadsheet, then I will probably charge a minor fee for people that have previously paid for it. But if you already have paid for the spreadsheet and it's just minor updates, then there will be no charge for the following year. So that's it in a nutshell. And hopefully I'll get some interest in this, and we'll be able to see how things look at the end of the year. What I normally do for my notary business, I at the end of the year just print out this year to date summary tab and hand it to my accountant, and they've got everything they need in order to start building my tax return at the end of the year. Obviously, you want to keep all your receipts, but this gives you an easy way to get a jump start on your taxes for the following year. Thanks, everybody.